to another episode of Miami Cyber Diaries, where we spotlight innovators in Miami and around the globe, helping shape our digital future. I'm Matt Mulcahy, founder and CEO of Miami Cyber. Today, we have an expert in the Microsoft community, Majd Madina, founder of Partner Guide. Maj's career has been built on making a masterclass in Microsoft partnerships, and I'm excited to dig into his story. So, Maj, how's your day going?
Very good, Matt, and everyone. It's a pleasure being here.
Awesome. Thanks so much. And
Awesome.
I started this to really spotlight entrepreneurs and people I know and various skill sets and really talk about the story of starting a business. But, Maj, we've known each other, I think, about 7 years now. You worked at AppRiver originally, and really helped us get the Microsoft partnership squared away when I took over Microsoft partnerships at my previous MSP. So really excited to get into this. Hopefully this is very helpful and insightful to a lot of the Microsoft partners or want to be Microsoft partners that are just, struggling to understand some of these new incentives, especially going into fiscal year 26. So Maj, let's start with you. You own a business now. You've taken a big step in being an entrepreneur. So what inspired you to take that move, take that next step, and why did you start Partner Guide?
Sure. Thank you, Matt. And hello once again, everyone. It's really a great pleasure being on your show. So I've always been in the Microsoft world, of partners. So I started my career 22 years ago with Microsoft. Straight out of university, I was I was blessed to have that opportunity because ever since, like for the last 22 years, I've held roles just working with partners. At first, I started as a product manager for Windows Server back in the day, Windows Server 2008, and security. Spent a lot of time in the product team, and during that time, we did not sell direct at all. It was all through partners, right? So that was when I had to learn all the partner programs, the competencies as they were called, and the designations, and all the benefits that partners that really know how to drive these very complicated, very multi-layered programs, they're the ones that really shine, right? And there's the ones that really get all the benefits, the leads, the credit. And so after that role, I joined another team where I managed HP and Dell and these big multinational partners. Spent a few years managing M&As, and that from that side, I learned about like the serious, huge funding opportunities, the enterprise scale type of programs. But then in 2011, that was when I moved to Canada, and from 2011 until just a couple of months ago, that's where I've only been working on partner networks for indirect providers, which are the large distributors. So throughout the last more than 10 years, I've been working with thousands of partners, especially in the SMB segment. That's most of my focus. And I know everyone is confused, right? There's always like so many things to unlock. And that was really the reason why now I'm doing this on my own, because I absolutely love working with partners and helping you guys navigate through the Microsoft programs.
Yeah, and I can vouch for you firsthand, Maj. I mean, you helped us navigate a lot of the incentive structures and making sure we're getting full value of the partner portal. As we know, the Microsoft Partner Portal can be a little overwhelming between
Yeah.
the actual Partner Center and then Lighthouse and the marketing portal and the CSP briefings. And there's a lot of tentacles that kind of sprawl out from that Partner Center. And I can definitely say that you've helped us tremendously at my last job and now this
Oh,
one,
yeah.
right? With my company, you've helped me look at some things and make sure I get in that next incentive cycle that's coming up in October that we'll talk a little bit about. So obviously, working with partners is a passion. Microsoft makes sense, just you've been in that ecosystem so long. So how are you really helping your partners unlock incentive and drive success through their Microsoft partnership?
Sure. So FY26, which is this year, it's like, taking a little step back. Every single year we get surprises around that time of year, right? Won't go way back, but ever since the rise of the cloud, every single year we have new updates, new changes. Last year and last couple of years was that whole shift to NCE. But this year, which is fiscal year 26, that started in July, there hasn't been as many incentives as this year, and they haven't been as accessible for partners. So there's benefits all across the board, from the internally used right licenses that partners get from unlocking badges to the CSP rebates are now better than ever because there's something called a growth accelerator. So every single time you sell licenses, you don't just make money off of the margins that your distributor gives you, but you unlock incentives. And this year, the incentives, the rebates themselves are better than ever before because you get to quadruple your rebates as long as you have growth amongst your customer base. And then finally, and my personal favorite is that there's so much more incentives on the engagements level. So now for Azure, for example, there's so much money to be made. If you just have the core SMB badges without having the advanced specializations, you can go back to Microsoft and request from 2K to 12K as per any deployment to help you offset costs, offer discounts to customers, and so on. And there's also some really nice jewels of programs where, Microsoft gives you leads as long as you have, certain certifications or certain tiers of program of business requirements activated. So what I love doing is help you figure out all these puzzles relative to who you are, right? and what you guys sell.
How do you keep up with all of that? Like, how do you teach yourself, and how do you, I mean, do you read all the documentation, or what's your kind of process?
Yeah, that's a great point. So reading the documentations gets you halfway there, even though they're really hefty. And I know no one has time for all of that, right? I'd have to say the biggest thing that helped me was working with distributors, with indirect providers, because then you'd have to help them figure out the programs, create support tickets with Microsoft, which usually goes in infinite loops with that team. But there are some really good resources depending of what type of partner you are. I always tell partners at least make sure to join all of the CSP monthly calls. There's one of my favorite resources is if you Google Partner Center announcements, you get a list of all the announcements that Microsoft is kind of like pushing in the channel every single month. This is super, super important to stay on top of. And then there's incentives workshops. But unfortunately, given how sensitive the incentives are, everyone that delivers these sessions is talking kind of like, in codes because they don't want the information to be public for everyone because it's not really public for everyone, right? So what I love to tell partners is please reach out. I'd love to offer you guys a free 30 minutes, 1 hour discussion where you can tell me a little bit about yourself, what it is you sell. I'll explain all the programs that are relevant to you and relevant to the current badges that you have. And I'd be very happy to help you across your journey because I know it takes time and it's complicated.
For sure. So pivoting into the really partnerships, right? Indirect providers, mostly MSPs, MSSPs, can't deliver their service without an ecosystem of partners. Microsoft obviously being a core tenant in some, especially mine. Talk to me about how you've seen the Microsoft partner community evolve over the years.
Oh, well, once again, it's been a yearly thing lately, right? So lately we moved from even the term, the partner network, for as long as we remember, it was called MPN, the Microsoft Partner Network, and all the badges were called silver and gold competencies, and you get access to different partners and different programs based on which badge you have. There was 20 of them, right? And then after you get a badge, you would activate something called the specialization. And the specialization is really where you can walk into Microsoft and say, I want 20K for delivering a pilot. And then once I do a workshop, I want 8K and things like that. So the NCI engagements were really kept aside for the largest partners that go all the way up to the specializations. But lately, as of like last couple of years, that term MPN changed to MAICPP, the Microsoft AI Cloud Partner Program. That became the new name of the partner programs out there. And they really heavily consolidated the 20 badges into just 6. And then there's no longer silver and gold tier. There's just the 6 solution partner designations. And then once you activate these 6 designations, you can go after the specializations, which are really, really good and important and impactful. And even small partners can reach it, I'd always say, within a year if you really put your mind to it. Because once you unlock specializations, this is where you literally become one of the 1% of the partners out there. Just this year, Microsoft announced that they have 500K active partners worldwide, and only 5,000 have specializations. So that's literally 1% of the partners. And this is where huge amounts of focus, funding, support happens. And you do not have to be a managed partner now to activate these programs, because they come with huge benefits that help you close deals much faster. And then the last thing that just happened a couple of months ago, which I'm super excited about, I'm not sure if you heard, it's basically like the MAI CPP program became a little bit more attainable and easier to access. And now you can at least, all partners can at least activate the CSP rebates, which is the money Microsoft gives you back on a monthly basis just for selling licenses, without even the need to activate the core badges. So now partners, as long as you have 25 points towards any of the badges for the different solution areas, then you can get at least access to the CSP rebates, which is a huge plus for this year. And but still, I always tell partners, don't just activate the badges, aim to activate the specializations as well. And if you're a little bit confused as to why, let's have a call and I'll convince you.
Yeah, from an early stage MSP perspective, myself mainly, that's what you helped me with is just, hey, you need these 2 certs, and you kind of cross that threshold to at least increase your margins. As you all know,
Yeah.
the margins on 365 licensing is not phenomenal. So every point matters on that front. So obviously, that's how you helped me, but there are much larger partners that you work with. So what are some of the primary challenges they're facing today, and where do you find yourself pulled towards to help them solve some of their, solve the Microsoft challenges they're facing?
Sure. Well, it's always like it's really like solving puzzles, right? And being Microsoft PM, this is what I really love helping partners navigate through, right? So some partners have the business requirements met, but they don't have the skills and the certifications. With that, we create a plan on what are the easiest certs that you need to focus on in order to activate the badges as fast as possible, right? There's other ways where you can even also hire external support for temporary amount of time, and they come with their specializations, right? Until you really hire, or until you get that internal skill set built. Other partners, for example, don't have their proper association with their distributor. And what I see all of the time is that they don't go on Partner Center and manually associate with the customers that they are serving, but that are not selling licenses to. So Microsoft, if you have your account set up properly with your distributor, will automatically reflect all the customers that you're selling licenses to. But I talk to partners all the time that are catering to enterprises that are buying their licenses through an EA or directly from Microsoft, and they don't go in and manually claim these customers, and therefore they don't have enough points. And sometimes with partners, in just 2 days, we realize that, hey, there's like 5 huge customers we need to claim, and then they show up, and I realize that the partners are now ready to activate a specialization, not just a badge, right? So it's always customer associations, it's always skills. And then finally, it's go to market. A lot of partners are super high tech. They know, they love the solutions, but they don't have a solid go to market motion, or they don't go back to their current customer base and help them, upsell different bundles. And this is where I also love helping partners, right? Let's create a smart bundle that we can package together and sell either to existing customers or to by doing campaigns, right? And these are all things that I love to help partners with, and I feel like they struggle with sometimes.
So really maximizing points, figuring out a go-to-market motion that makes sense,
Yeah.
and pushing into either their existing client base or new client base, upsells, and really driving the value of these SKUs. So you work through all of that, but how do you define success for your customers?
Yeah, it's always all of these things. So I always love to, first of all, offer partners a very affordable package because I know I want to reach SMB partners, which are my favorites, right? There's other people like me out there, but they charge, more than the partner will ever make in incentives in year one. So it doesn't really make sense. So I love to offer like a super affordable package where it's all based on where you are and where's the next realistic step is that you need to be. And then usually my program is for 2 months, and we set, targets. Usually it's like let's activate X amount of incentive based on, now how I learned of how large you are and how much of money you're leaving on the table. So there's that component of how much more incentive will activate. There's the component of which badges and which programs will we also go through. And then finally, if we're also doing a go-to-market engagement, then we try to aim also to a number of leads, a number of wins that we can, focus on activating and achieving together. So it's
So
these three angles as well.
yeah, and that's like I said, you've helped me do that firsthand, in a couple different roles now, and I think it's really critical for anyone working with Microsoft to have someone, an ace in the hole that helps them understand and navigate all these changes that come, out of nowhere. Sometimes it feels like. So let's pivot from, how do you help your company more so to your, I'm sorry, how do you help your clients to your company? So you started Partner Guide. Obviously, everyone takes a different approach with how they run their business. But so, how does the technology you're using at Partner Guide help you run your day-to-day operations, and how do you keep it all together?
Sure. Well,
Ha-
right now it's just really me, right? So definitely an M365, M365 bundle, alongside like I have like the business premium with Copilot because I really can't live without Copilot for M365 now.
Yep.
And I love telling partners, if you're not using Copilot, use it, then you'll love it and you'll be able to sell it easier, and you're going to start getting into the world of agents, custom built agents, which is what Microsoft is really focusing on this year and putting a lot of money in. And so, yeah, it's AI. I come from a security background, and when I worked at Microsoft at first, I was a kid. I was just out of university, and I was always delivering these presentations about how many hackers we caught this year and stuff like that, the security intelligence report. And then one day I got brutally hacked, and that's what taught me respect, And now, if I ever talk about, on behalf of Microsoft or Microsoft security, I always say, please don't hack me. And I put security before everything, right? And I always tell partners definitely have to lead with security, as well as now another opportunity that's huge, which is AI. Two huge upsell motions because you can go back to your customers as well now and talk about AI to get them excited and use security as well in order to upgrade their licenses because customers are mostly willing now this year to invest in AI as first and in security as always, right?
Yep. And I think for Microsoft partners, using that business premium SKU is the kind of the hero SKU to everything else you do is critical because it gives you the upsell paths into the new E-level bundles,
Yeah.
as well as the new compliance bundles they just announced, I think like last week or 2 weeks ago. So, but it's all education, it's all understanding how that benefits you on the partner side and how you earn those points, right? So, and that the security in the Microsoft ecosystem is really good.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're not using Defender and all that, and Intune and managing compliance defaults and machine compliance, it's really really strong. So what I want to do now is the lightning round. I'm going to ask you a question, Maj. Just expect a quick answer. I'm going to run through a few and pick your brain. You ready?
Sure. Let's do it.
All right. What's your best single piece of advice for Microsoft partners?
align and always like it's always changing. Always embrace the change and be on the positive side. Throughout the 22 decades that passed, partners that just embrace the change and try to see the value of it are the ones that get all the fundings, get all the leads, get all the support. Even if the change is not, amazing at first, it usually has a plus sign. So hold on to the plus sign always.
The only constant is change, right? That's what they say.
Yeah,
All right,
absolutely.
one word to describe your career.
Partners, really, I've only been working with partners.
What what
It
what is
really
your
is.
what is your dream collaboration?
Okay, I don't want to sound cheesy, but like I've been on collaborations with super high leaders at Microsoft World, global leaders with disties and partners catering to MSPs, but I never had a one-on-one discussion with an MSP as I'm doing right now, where this is the initiative. So I have to say, working with an MSP, doing a podcast, which is a first for me.
Awesome. Thanks, Maj. If you
Yeah.
weren't doing this, what would you be doing?
Honestly, I definitely have to go to managing an eco lodge that doesn't have electricity, and that's like I'm all about Microsoft tech, but in the weekend I'm all
Off grid.
about camping. Absolutely. So yeah,
Nice.
if I'm not doing IT, I would be on an eco lodge.
It's a world of extremes.
Yeah.
m- what's so? What's the most exciting Microsoft program or incentive for fiscal year 26?
That the incentives are now available for all partners without the need of activating a badge, and Azure incentives. So much investment there. Just with the core SMB badges, for any implementation, you can request funding, and hopefully that really helps partners. And then I have to squeeze in a third one, which a lot of partners don't know about, but Microsoft is pushing enterprise agreements back to CSP. So all customers like that grew to a point where they had more than 1,000 employees, and then they went on an enterprise agreement, so they stopped being in CSP, which is our world, is now being pushed back to CSP. So if you ever lost a large customer because they went after an enterprise agreement, now is the time to bring them back because they're being asked to move back to CSP. So Microsoft is putting a lot of trust in the channel, a lot of investments compared to the last previous year, where we were getting less and less and less programs every year. This year is really good.
Awesome. All right, Maj, let's move into the end here. So, where can people find you online? What is it? Partner-guide.com, right? Is your website?
Yes. It's yeah, brand new, just launched, partner-guide.com. You can take a look at our website, but please just feel free to schedule a consultation. That's the main call to action you'll see everywhere.
Yep.
And there's going to be a little, oh, here we go. Yeah.
I'll put a link up there on YouTube where I point to.
Great. Awesome. Yeah, and then please in the referral section, please put down Miami Cyber. You'll get a little discount.
All right, awesome. And last thing, two pieces of advice I'm asking for here. One is, what would you give Microsoft partners tuning in? I think a lot Align is the big one there. And then what is your advice for other aspiring entrepreneurs, not even MSPs, just entrepreneurs in general? What do you think it takes to start and run a business and be a solopreneur like you are right now?
Always been an employee. This is brand new for me to finally take that step. But I really think it's because I really love helping partners, and I have something that I've been working on all my life that I feel is ready for me to now do on my own. And I've always been holding myself, and I feel like, yeah, as long as you're passionate about something and you feel like you can help, because it's all about support in the end of the day, and seeing companies really benefit from what you have to offer, then it's most probably time for you to do it on your own. And
All right,
yeah.
thanks, Maj. This is episode 4 of Miami Cyber Stories, our first remote episode, just because geographically limits don't work for us too. But Maj, I really appreciate your time. Thanks so much again. Partner-guide.com. if you have any Microsoft questions, please reach out to Maj. He's the best. He's helped me for so long, and he is on his game. So thanks everyone for tuning in. Next episode will be out probably by the end of the month, and we will talk to you next time. Thanks so much. Have a great day.
Thank you so much. Thank you.